رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد, Alhamdulillah, today we are very fortunate that we have a brother in Islam who is coming to visit us from the land of America, and Alhamdulillah, he is somebody who spent several years studying secular academic studies at university, and he has a background in engineering, and he, after that, subhanAllah, he spent several years, the best part of 10 years, if not more, seeking knowledge in the lands of Sham, Egypt, and many other great places of learning, and many of the great ulama of this age he has spent time with and learning from, particularly the ulama of Sham and the ulama of Egypt. And mashallah, recently, alhamdulillah, he's been associated with and learning the science of Iftah from the Mufti of Egypt, Sheikh Waleed Mohammad Mosaad. So this is a great blessing, and mashallah, he is working in the Emirates and several other places, and alhamdulillah, currently he's now about to begin or continue his PhD here in England. So alhamdulillah, he's come here, he came here last year, and he's come here several times before, and today inshallah he's going to speak to us about the importance of knowledge, the importance of seeking knowledge, and inshallah how the ulama of the past, how they were in seeking knowledge, and what we can use for our youth, for ourselves, how we can take knowledge and use it, inshallah ta'ala. So without further ado, inshallah, Sheikh Waleed.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا مولانا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ثم أما بعد. So I'd like to thank Imam Zain and the community here in Alice Street for inviting us this very blessed and beautiful night to come and speak to you. As he said, this is not my first time here. The last time I was here, I was with Da'iya and Mashhur Habib Ali Jibri, and I recall that we were standing right here in this mihrab, and he was speaking to you, and then I had the honor of translating for him. So I'm back here again, and I'm very happy to be here, very honored, and I see a lot of bright, beautiful faces. And we've been doing some lectures and talks the past few days. We were in earlier this morning, we were here in Cardiff. Yesterday we were in Manchester. The day before we were in Bolton. So next week we'll go to Bradford and Leeds, visiting some of the English and Welsh cities. And so it's my privilege to be here amongst you. So Imam Zain has asked me to talk about a little bit about knowledge and the importance of knowledge. And we had a short session with the sisters prior to this, and we spoke a little bit about it. And I told them that knowledge is what actually defines us, who we are. And I said that, you know, you as a human being, you look at yourself, you have hands, you have feet, you have a body, blood, flesh, veins, so forth, and you can easily identify that. You see with your eyes, you hear with your ears, you can feel things. Something can feel smooth, or it can feel rough, it can feel coarse. These are all things Allah gave you by which to perceive things. And we share some of those things, if not all of them, the five senses, with animals too. Like the eagle can even see better than us. The bloodhound, the type of dog that can sniff for drugs, can smell better than us, and so forth. So the reason who we are is not because of our physical bodies, not because of our form, but it's something more precious, more valuable than this, and it's our souls, it's our hearts, it's our intellect. Animals don't share that with us. Only we have this. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created all this for us. Everything in it is for us, for our use, in a way that is judicious, in a way that is right, in a way that makes the best of these things, and not to abuse it. And the only way to know how doing that right is with knowledge, with ilm. Right? The first word that was revealed to Muhammad ﷺ was Iqra. Right? Read, recite, learn, عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. He taught the human being that which he did not know. So it's like we're not really human beings if we don't have knowledge. If we don't know things, that means we don't know what to do is right and what's wrong, then what do we know? And someone who doesn't do with what they know, we call that a crazy person. Right? الذي لا يعمل بما علم فهو كالمجنون. Someone who doesn't do, he knows what's right, but nonetheless he chooses to do something else. And that's not acceptable. But how do we go about knowing what's right and then in turn doing what's right? Everybody talks about what's right, and you should be a good Muslim and go to the masjid and pray 5 times a day, and fast Ramadan and zakah, and all our young people, they get told this in and out, and they're told, don't do this, don't do that, haram, balash, su' adab, ghair adab, illit adab, kada. All these things are told to our youth and we ingrain them in it because we want them to do the right thing. But yet we get frustrated when we find they don't always do the right thing. And we get frustrated with ourselves because we don't always do the right thing either. So we say, well, then how come? Why aren't we doing the right thing when we kind of know what it is, but still we don't do it? And I think the reason is because it's not enough just to know something. There's knowing something, and then there's really knowing something. Right? It's not just knowing it like I know a fact. I read the internet and I learned something new on the internet. But to know is to have light, is to be enlightened, is to be someone who acts like they know and really knows. And the ulama, they said that the first wajib, أول الواجبات, the first thing any Muslim needs to know is what? Anyone know? No 1 + 1 = 2? No, their arithmetic? No. To know Allah. أول واجب معرفة الله. Know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, you can be doing all the other stuff in the world that you think you're doing right, but if you don't know Allah, it's like you don't know anything. إنما يخشى الله من عباده من العلماء. Right? So the true khashya, the true fearing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only comes to the ulama. And here ulama means not someone who has a PhD and has a big library and goes on BBC4 and talks about Islam. Not necessarily. That's not ulama. Ulama means عنده khashya. They have khashya. They fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They may know a little, but the little that they know, they do. That's true knowledge. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab said that he spent 10 years learning Al-Baqarah wa Ali Imran. When some of our children, we could probably have them memorize it within 3-4 months or less. So why 10 years? And he was asked about it. He said, because I implemented, I used every ayah and I actually did it. It wasn't just memorization. His approach to Quran, he actually did the Quran. When Aisha was asked about the character of the Prophet ﷺ, she said, خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ. And the Quran says about him, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Right? So what good is it if we know a lot of things and we think we know and we don't do anything about it? We don't live it. So this disconnect, right, this sort of khilaf with what you know and what you're actually doing is a problem we as Muslims face. And it's really not that hard, I think, to actually know what's right. Most people know what's right. Everybody knows lying is wrong, everybody knows cheating is wrong, stealing is wrong. Both Muslim and non-Muslim know that. But yet they do it anyway. And the reason that they do it is because when they're doing it, they don't think it's lying or cheating or stealing. They justify it. زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ. Right? Shaitan, he made it look nice. That's his job. He makes bad things look nice to you. But they're bad. That's how he does it. He doesn't tell you, go do that bad thing because it's good to be bad. No one's going to want to do it. But he'll say, you know what? You have an excuse. You're justified. That person, he said something bad about you, so you should go punch him in his face. He deserves it because he was bad to you first. So you should be the one, go take it to him, show him who's boss, that type of thing. But that's exactly what he wants you to do. But the way to waver him off, the way to sway him, to push him away, is to know who he is. And to know that when he comes to you, who's talking to you. Right? And a lot of people talk about how do you fight the shaitan? What do you do? It's so hard. It's not that hard at all. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. That's all you have to say. Shaitan comes, you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. That's what the Quran tells us. You seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the shaitan who's trying to make you do bad things, do things that He wants to humiliate you, right? Because he was humiliated. He's trying to get revenge on us. That's why he's doing all of this. Right? He felt humiliated because Allah told him, prostrate before our father, Adam alayhi salam. And he said, خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. So you created me from fire, you created him from dirt, from clay. I'm better. Why should I prostrate before him? So he had his own justification. He made the good look bad to himself. And now he wants to do that for everyone else. So we got to recognize it when he's there and we say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, push him away. Not only does shaitan try to push us, but our own nafs, our own souls within us. You know, we like to push ourselves and we like to just, you know, take the easy way. That's what we love to do. If it's a choice between sleep and waking up to pray, of course it's easier to just remain asleep. It's very hard to get up and to pray, and not just for Fajr, but even earlier than Fajr, and to fast all of Ramadan every day. And mashallah, you guys here have Maghrib, yeah, I mean, what time is it going to be this year? Yeah, like what, 9:30 or, huh? Yeah, I have, mashallah, a lot of fasting. Yeah. That's okay, just wait another like 18 years, it'll be in the winter, and it'll be quite easy. So then, I'll go to South Africa and fast there and we have the opposite. But, yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It's difficult. And you need to think about that. And you need to know, right, the knowledge that is the beginning step, it's not the end step. Imam al-Ghazali, he said that knowledge is the beginning, action is the middle, and then it ends with knowledge. What does he mean by that? How can it be the beginning and the end, and then amal is in the middle? He said in the beginning, it's knowledge to know to do what's right. To know the halal, the haram, the fard, the sunnah, kada, you know that. And we try to follow it and do as best as we can. And then you do it. You do the action. But then there's knowledge that comes later on too. That's not like the first one. It's different than the first knowledge. And that knowledge is when Allah gives you understanding, gives you insight, gives you light. عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. So when you have taqwa of Allah, which is the action, then Allah gives you knowledge, and He actually makes it easier for you. You might struggle in the beginning, but then it gets easier. And then not only gets easier, but you want to do it. You seek it out. You begin to realize, wait, reading Quran is actually much better than watching that movie, or watching that TV show, or engaging in something else that's not a good use of our time. You learn to know that. Not just know it intellectually, know it in your brain, but you know it in your heart. And when you know it in your heart, that's when you do. It's not enough to know up here. Because if you know just in your brain, yeah, okay, it's a nice fact, I'll do it maybe. But if you're convinced and you love it in your heart, nothing will get in your way. All right? When you love to do something, nothing stops you. If you're really hungry and you need to eat and you love to eat, nothing's going to stop you. You're going to go eat wherever you can find. You go to your friend's house or your aunt's house or wherever you can find it because you love it. But if you love it khayr, if you love good, and you keep seeking it out, then you want to do it, and you will do it. And then when you increase and you keep doing it, Allah is going to give you knowledge of things that you didn't know before. He's going to give you realization. He's going to give you insight. This is what Imam al-Ghazali was talking about. And that's who we are. We begin with ilm, with knowledge, and then the middle is action, and then he gives us another type of knowledge, al-ilm al-ladunni, knowledge that comes from him, comes directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have insights, and we see things, and we understand things, and we learn to deal with people. We see that people, when they're upset or when they have issues, that there's something behind that. We learn to recognize that. We learn to help them with their problems. We become people that people want to learn from and want to talk to and want to associate with because they see that. That's one of the signs of someone who's knowledgeable. Because they were asking me, how do you know what to listen to? So many people are talking. You see all these videos on YouTube and Facebook and you're putting on Twitter and all of them, some of them wearing imama and they're wearing like the dress, and so who's right? And they contradict each other, and some of them speak bad about the other one, so who's right, who's wrong, how do you know? And one of the ways of knowing, I told them, is that true knowledgeable people bring people together, they don't split them up. They don't make furqa wa niza' wa tamziq al-mujtama', right? They make ta'lif, ta'aluf, tahabub, tawadud. These are the attributes of the one who's a Waleed Mohammad. someone who inherited from Muhammad ﷺ, because that's what he did. He brought people together. He brought hearts together. He brought the most divisive people in the world who were fighting each other constantly over the pettiest of things, and with a matter of less than a generation, he brought them together. He brought those hearts together when no other way it could have happened. When for hundreds of years before that, they couldn't even agree to have a single city where they could be undivided in. But he made Mecca this way, he made Medina this way, and he made the rest of the Jazira Arabiya, the Arabian Peninsula, also he made it this way. That's a sifa, that's an attribute of Waleed Mohammad. So you know him by he brings people together, he doesn't split them up. He doesn't make you feel you have to be on his team, or his faction, or his sect, or his madhab, and then you leave everything else. And you're the only ones who are correct, and everybody else is wrong. I told him this should set an alarm bell. Any sheikh, so-called sheikh or scholar who tells you, it's only my way, and all the rest of these people are wrong, they don't know what they're doing, and I'm the only one, and follow me only, that's wrong. Because the Prophet ﷺ didn't do it like that. He didn't split people up. He didn't make people feel like they have to choose sides, and then they have to hate people. He never taught the Muslims to hate people. Not even the kuffar. He did not teach Muslims to hate even non-Muslims. And I challenge anyone to show me where he did that. He did quite the opposite. If we read Surah Al-Kahf and we really contemplate its meanings every week on Friday, it says in the beginning, وَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِنْ لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. يعني بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ, like you're almost going to kill yourself over the fact that they are not believing in your message. Why? حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. He's haris. He wants people to be guided. He wants to bring them. He doesn't want to say, أَقَمْتُ الْحُجَّةِ وَإِلَى النَّارِ. He didn't do that. He was given the choice. Jibreel gave him the choice, يَبْعَ الْأَخْبَشَيْن, the two mountains, to come on top of the Quraysh. He said, no. I don't see them as my enemy like that. And I hope that from amongst their people, their children will be people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't hate them. How can you give da'wah to people and you hate them at the same time? How is that possible? How can you want khair for someone, good for someone, but you hate them and you can't stand to be around them? It's a contradiction. That's like schizophrenia. It's like someone who has a split personality and they don't know what to choose. You have to love the people you're inviting to Islam. If you don't love them, they're not going to come. Right? When you invite someone to your house and you want them to partake, have a meal with you, you're very nice and say, تفضل أخي مش عارف إيش يعني عندنا مأدبة عندنا يعني خروف محشي ومدفون ومندي يعني هكذا. People, yeah, okay. You don't say, come to my house, but I hate you. Come anyway. I want to show you my house, but I can't stand you, I hate you. I want you to go to hellfire. Who's going to come? But this is what we do. And we keep following, we keep hearing messages like this. It doesn't jive, it doesn't make sense to have this contradiction. So we have to look carefully for who our leaders are, who we listen to, who we take knowledge from. Right? Our great Imam Malik, he said, إِنَّ هَذَا الْأَمْرَ دِينٌ فَانْظُرُوا مِمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ. This matter is deen. So look carefully to where you're taking your deen from. Imam Malik was said to have over 70 scholars, shuyukh, he learned from, before he would sit down and teach anybody. And there were probably 70 he left, he chose not to learn from. He was very, very picky about who he would learn from. If he felt like a scholar would be a great scholar in his time, but he felt there was a contradiction, he wouldn't want to sit with them. The great muhaddithin, right, who traveled like thousands of miles just to get one hadith, because back then it wasn't written down. You couldn't go and download Sahih Bukhari from Google, right? If you wanted to know Sahih Bukhari, or if you want to know the hadith of the Sahaba, you have to go travel to the Sahabi, or the person who narrates that hadith. And if you're in Mecca, you have to go all the way to Iraq, on horseback, on camel, and spend many nights and many days traveling to get there to see it. So some of them would travel all that distance. They would get there, and one of them, he found that he was supposed to be a rawi of a hadith, a narrator, and he was enticing his donkey or his mule by tricking it, thinking that he had a carrot and then hiding it behind his back to make him move. He said, such a person I can't narrate hadith from. If he's not truthful with his donkey, he's not going to be truthful with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So going all that distance just to go back. Because that person is not, he's not the person of knowledge. Because he doesn't use his knowledge. He may know the hadith but if he doesn't use it, then I'm not going to marry her. That's how they were. They were very, very careful about what they let enter into their hearts and into their minds, what they call to be knowledge. And we have to be just as discerning now. We live in an age of disinformation and misinformation, a lot of theories, a lot of talk, a lot of people talking about a lot of things. You know, who did this and who did that? Is it a conspiracy? Is that really true? Did that scholar really say that? Did he not say that? Did these people actually carry a bomb with them? Did they not carry a bomb with them? And then we see all these type of people talking back and forth. So who do you believe? What do you do? And we have a simple principle in Islam for dealing with all of that. It's not all that difficult to know. Either you are a naqil. Naqil means that you are you're conveying something that you heard from someone else. So if I told you, yesterday I saw a certain person when I was in Manchester today. I saw a certain brother you may know, Habib Aidalus. I saw him in Manchester last night. So I'm telling you a particular thing. I saw someone. Now, you can choose to believe me and choose not to believe me. But what is that? Why would you believe me or not believe me? In this case, we say, الناقل عليه لصحة النقل. So you look at me. You look at the person who's telling you the information. Is he a trustworthy person? And this is what they call al-adala. And also, how's his memory? Is he precise in the stories he tells, or he's kind of like, he adds things? You know, you've met people who like, when the story goes around 3 or 4 times, it becomes so much bigger than it actually was in the beginning. So if he's a precise narrator, someone you can trust, then you can trust where the story is coming from. Then we call that